Welcome to this webinar on IELTS. Today, we're going to be looking at writing part two, the essay. In order to do this, I've taken an authentic essay from the UNHCR, and it's about the refugee crisis in Greece in 2014. If you look at the example in front of you, you'll see that some parts of it are highlighted in green. What's the relationship between refugees and people who have been forced to seek sanctuary abroad? What's the relationship between refugees and vulnerable individuals? Well, they're synonymous, of course, but they're more than synonymous. People who have been forced to seek sanctuary abroad is a definition of refugees. And individuals, vulnerable individuals, is a replacement of refugees with a more general word, individuals, which is refined by vulnerable. So our first top tip from this essay: to engage the reader, avoid repetition. So how can you avoid repetition? Well, you can use a definition. People who have been forced to seek sanctuary abroad is a definition of refugees. Or you can replace the key word with a more generic word like individuals and then refine it with vulnerable individuals. Okay, let's move on to our second tip. And in the examples in front of you, you'll see that two sentences are highlighted in green. The paragraphs are the same. The sentence order is different. Well, resettlement is a vital solution is in both cases a kind of topic sentence. In the first paragraph, it's the introduction. In the second, it's conclusion. But is it really just a matter of introductions or conclusions? No. Put the topic sentence first when your argument is strong, when you think it's going to be shared by the reader. Put the topic sentence last when you think you're going to need to persuade your reader to come to your point of view. So, placement of the topic sentence shows variety and shows strength of argument. Let's move on. You'll see a paragraph full of color. The first sentence beginning world leaders is in red. And then in the second sentence, states can stop this by investing. This is in red too. You can see that this refers to the first sentence. If we continue with the second sentence, states can stop this by investing in search and rescue operations and immediately helping people in distress. You can see that helping people in distress is in green. And this is mirrored in the next sentence by people fleeing persecution. There's a pattern here. It's called the new old pattern. In the first sentence, all the information is new. We don't know anything about what world leaders should do and how many people have died. But in the second sentence, we refer to this using the word this. It's something old. And then we introduce something new, helping people in distress. So the second sentence has something which is old and something new. And this pattern is repeated in the third sentence. So people fleeing persecution is old. It refers to people in distress. And then crossing borders is something new. This is what we call an old new pattern. And it's a great way of developing a paragraph, a great way of developing coherence and not overusing linking words like and but and moreover. In fact, if you look at the paragraph, you'll find very, very few of them. Okay, our next top tip. It's a short paragraph, and the last sentence is highlighted in green. And if you look at the last sentence, it begins with I. Well, when we're writing an essay, of course, we support our argument with shared truths. But don't forget, there is always a place. There's an essential place for a personal truth, not a story, but an example. Arguments need to be supported by universal truths and also personal anecdotes. But when I say anecdotes, it's an example, not necessarily a story. Finally, a long paragraph and no color. But if you look at this paragraph, you'll see it's very, very rich. It's rich in punctuation. Can you see the semicolon? Europe has a very short memory. There's the semicolon. Can you see the parenthesis? With the exception of some groups. And then towards the end, after 1950s, can you see the colon? Punctuation is important. It doesn't just divide the text, it adds meaning. For example, the parenthesis, with the exception of some groups, is telling us that we don't really need to read what's in the brackets. It's extra information. So if you're in a hurry, don't read it. The semicolon in the beginning, Europe has a very short memory, tells us that what is coming is connected. But it doesn't tell us about the connection. It raises a question. It keeps us engaged. It makes us curious. And the colon in the end, after 1950s, by ending conflict, introduces a list of examples. But not just any examples. Examples which we know. How do you solve a refugee crisis? By ending conflict, by investing in peace. These are examples which help the writer onboard the reader. They show how much we share. So, these are my top tips for IELTS writing, part 2, the essay. Thank you.